I'll say this: people came for the leads in the beginning, and they stayed for the culture. So they came because I was essentially the one who had all the internet leads. If you went on Zillow at that time, I was literally everywhere. It was a shift from being a real estate agent to running a business, being a CEO. And when you start thinking like a CEO in that case, you start looking at the business very differently.
100%.
And that was probably around the 2018, 2019, 2020 timeframe when that shift was occurring.
Not to fast forward too much, but I would imagine once you started thinking like a CEO, you saw some very fast growth in your business after that.
Absolutely. When I put people in place, the president of my company today was my second hire.
Awesome.
And I saw very quickly that she was very, very good at what she did. I mean, this is somebody, talk about a grinder. This was somebody that when I hired her, she was an AP biology teacher. So she worked full-time as a teacher and sold 45 properties a year for me.
That's awesome.
And did both. And you would never have known that she was working full-time. She never skipped a beat. She eventually started taking on some training for me. She would train other agents as they came in because she was so good at it. Why not let her do it? So I started focusing on the growth came when I stopped worrying about the coaching and training aspect.
Right.
Because one person can't possibly coach and train 20 people.
Nope.
And if you wanted to get to 50 people, it was literally impossible. So that's when I knew I had to have another layer of management there. And so I was able to talk her into quitting her full-time job and coming and joining me. And
Awesome.
I think she's happy with that decision today.
Yeah.
She's doing quite well. Again, she's the president of the company. So, but yeah, that's when we saw the real growth of the company. So from 2019, we'll call it to, right at COVID, we grew from probably 15 or 20 agents very quickly to roughly about 100.
That's incredible.
And just in a very short amount of time.
What do you think attracted so many agents to your firm? Because there's a ton of firms in Central Virginia. Some of them are very productive.
Sure.
A handful of good agents and good leaders around here. Why did they want to come to the Hogan Group?
I'll say this: people came for the leads in the beginning, and they stayed for the culture. So they came because I was essentially the one who had all the internet leads. If you went on Zillow at that time, I was literally everywhere. I was buying from Realtor.com. I was buying from them. I was doing Google pay-per-click. I was doing all the things. So I had all the leads, and people saw the growth. I mean, they saw us go from just a couple of years earlier selling 100 properties a year to automatically now we're selling 500 properties a year. And I'm like, how did that happen? So we started getting people who wanted to be a part of that.
Right.
But what happened was, again, they came in and the culture was what made them stay. I mean, we got this. It's even hard to define. I have people all the time say, well, what does your culture look like? And it's hard to define it, put your finger on it.
Right.
It's just something that's there, and you nurture it and you protect it, and that's what makes people want to stay typically. Now, there's been people who have come and gone over the time. A lot of them I didn't want to leave, but I never stop people from doing something that's better for them. It does make me feel good when people leave and then want to come back. And some of them we do let come back, and some we haven't. But again, that's part of protecting that culture.
100%. And you have to do that for a sustainable business. And
Yeah.
I realized like the first 15, 20 people, at least from my experience on our team, we have about close to 50 people now. The first 15 is easily manageable as far as culture is concerned. But we hit there was a certain point, it might have been our 20th hire or something like that, where I was like, things feel different.
Yeah.
Things feel different. Things
Yeah.
are too far away.
Yeah.
And then it became a whole different culture game after that of how to manage that and how to control it beyond
It's a full-time
what
job.
I could reach as a CEO.
Yeah.
And then so you have to instill the culture in the next layer and make sure they understand the vision and how to portray that culture, so then the ripple goes further out.
And if you have multiple locations,
Yeah.
it gets even harder. So
Right.
that was the one thing. It was kind of a wake-up call for me. I started hearing some of my agents say, hey, this doesn't feel like it did before. It's good for me, but I don't know who these people are that are coming in. You're hiring so many people. And that time I was with Keller Williams running a team. This was early 2017, 2018. And we were going heavily into their expansion program. We had teams in several places throughout North Carolina, South Carolina, and it just got really big and unruly. And it was also right about the time that we had decided to create our own brokerage. And 2019 is when we split off and decided we're going to do our own thing. And one of the things that we did when we did that was we eliminated all the excess teams that were in other places that were distracting. They were making money, but not great money. But they were more of a distraction and more of a, hard to replicate our culture in those areas. And we didn't do a good job of that. And so I pulled it back and started focusing on our core area. And that's when I think things really started to click. We focused heavily on our Richmond market. We had this fledgling Charlottesville office that we were just starting up, and it's much easier when you are in one place all the time and can focus on the culture and really focus on the people that you're bringing in, making sure that they fit the culture.